And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Connexio. Connexio takes different objects here. I have a cow, I have a roller skate, I have a clothespin, I have a pinwheel spinning around, okay. I have a banana, I have a carrot, I have a block. And you're going to find connections between these. What's the connection between a fish and a flipper? Oh, they're both in the sea. What's the connection between a tire and a watermelon? Both you can't eat. I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at how the game plays. It comes in this, I want to mention it comes in this box here with this nice popping lid, which actually doesn't stay closed. It's kind of a weird packaging, honestly. But anyway, let's take a look. So there's two ways to play this game, competitive and cooperative. We'll talk about the competitive first. So there's a pile of objects here. You're going to randomly place one in the middle of the board. And each player is going to have 3 objects in front of themselves. And then on your turn, you will place an object here. Each player then has to get a slip of paper, which is not included in the game, and pens, which are not included with the game, and write down how they think these two things are connected. You will then read all those. And then you have 3 minutes to do this, and then you'll give them to the person, he shuffles them, and then they read all one, and everyone's going to vote for which one they like. Whoever gets the most votes is going to get an object taken from the bag that's given to this person. At the end of the game, whoever has the most objects is the winner. By the way, this game comes with a big bag to put all this stuff in. So you can connect them any way you want. So a fan to a baby, maybe I'd say, you know, they're both things that I've seen in the living room. Both of them like to spin around a lot. I don't know. So then if I put down a starfish here later on, then I got to connect the starfish with the baby somehow. I'm saying they both like to wiggle around. A dinosaur and a starfish. I found both on the beach. A fork and a dinosaur. Both can stab you. A empty pepper shaker and a fork. Both are not part of a complete meal. One of those twist tag things and an empty salt shaker. Both fill me with rage. Once these are all filled, people can just pick one, but then you got to write connections for both things that it's attached to. So that's basically how the game works. You're going to be just connecting things and writing them down, and the judge is going to pick them. In the cooperative one, everyone's going to have different objects from the bag, and then you're going to put them on the board, and you're just going to say things, and you're working together to put things on the board. This is not even a game. This is basically me just saying, oh, this faucet and the fan, both are made of metal. And everyone goes, ooh. Maybe a guy with a little poetry drum will be sitting in the background. And I don't know what this is. Is that garlic? It looks like garlic. Garlic and this handle here. They both fill me with insipid nonsense. Ooh. Anyway, that's the cooperative game. Now the box does stay closed if you leave it flat. Now if you do it sideways, it's going to pop open. All right. Here's the deal. I don't know the heart of the people who designed this game or what they were trying to aspire to. But the game, I don't know what it is. It gives me this feel of just being pretentious. I mean, it's like a work of art. It gives me the same feeling. I was like, hey, this is kind of like the Ungame. But instead of talking about feelings, we're going to talk about connections between a toy lighthouse and a fly. By the way, these pictures are they're all little toys of things. Like this isn't actually a lighthouse and a fly. This is a toy lighthouse and a toy fly. I'm not sure why that decision was made, but this cooperative part of this is just like, ooh, what are we doing? We're like, maybe as a kid, as a learning thing, how are these two connected? You're making them think that over? It's a game of infinite associations and imagination. It's just like, ooh, it's almost invariably in the comments to this, someone will be like, well, you just don't get it. Fair enough, I don't get it, but I imagine a lot of people aren't going to get it. It's because making these connections isn't that fun. There will need to be some kind of hook. Okay, so then let's move to the competitive game. Okay, so there's a competitive game, and we put it down, and that's okay, right? You're picking the connection that's the best, although, again, this board here, again, this is this whole weird, and it's this circle here, but it could have just been a straight line. Oh, but you can use the, throwing things on the ground, you can use the green side. There's more connections on that side. Okay, that's slightly interesting. There's a couple with more connections. Still not that interesting, though. And I got to go find my own slips of paper and own pencils. And I know someone's like, oh, that's not hard to do. Really? To find lots of slips of papers that are the same size, because that is important. You need to have that done. If you play games like Boulder Dash and stuff, it needs to be the same size, because that way you don't know whose is whose, even though. The competitive game is okay. I really don't like these pictures that much. They're little toys. They're okay, but they're small. You know, again, see this? It's a baby, but look how much room the baby takes. And as you get farther away, the baby gets smaller and smaller. It just doesn't fit on the thing that well. I would have preferred much cooler, maybe drawings or something for the most part. And the connections, you're like, ooh, what kind of magical connections can we make? They're both going to be things like you can eat them both. Or if you're playing a competitive game with silly people eventually, these are both things that Billy hates. Oh, okay. That's a funny answer. It's funnier than you both saying they're made out of metal. There's other games that have associations between things, and they're more fun, better party games out there. This one is, yeah, I'd give this one a pass. Dice Tower Judgment? Yeah, not for me.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.